Hey, good morning. I am coming to you from the deck on our house and got my coffee this morning. And this is where it's so beautiful here in St. Louis this week. So I wanted to just bring the vlog out here and do something different. So it totally will preface this. I know I've said this on other vlogs that the dogs run around. I have an audience. I have the St. Bernards down here, and he's huffing because he wants to go for a walk. But I wanted to get on here. I know on the podcast we talked about changing the way you look at food. And if you haven't listened to the podcast, get over to Apple iTunes or Google Play and subscribe because it's a different platform. If you listen, if you're better with the earbuds and you want to listen, or if you want to watch me, I don't know why you don't want to watch me, but it's fun. So anyway, what we're talking about this week is changing the way that you look at food. And really it's challenging what we've been taught to believe about food for the past 30 to 40 years. And deep down, this is what Sage Root is about. This is why I wanted to start Sage Root, is because I'm tired of, I'm just going to be frank, I'm tired of being lied to. And I've heard other people say this, they're tired of being lied to. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But I really started to dig deep when I really started to listen to my body more. And I realized that we really are being lied to. And so that's what I want to bring to you, is changing the way that you're looking at food. So this past weekend, I was scrolling Amazon Prime. So some of you scroll Facebook and Instagram, which I do as well, but I was scrolling Amazon Prime for something to watch. I tried to take downtime and take the time to not think about business. So anyway, I was scrolling Amazon Prime and I see this documentary called Fed Up. And I was like, well, what's this? And so I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this is going to be good. So I start watching it and y'all, I got mad. Like, I got really mad. I turned it off. And then I've come back to it a couple times this week and watched it. And I am blown away. And let me just preface this by saying you have to take all of the information from every source with, a grain of salt. You have to put it through your own filter. You're going to realize what your beliefs are. You're going to put your values into it. So yeah, you have to put it through your own filter. But everything that this documentary was talking about was speaking to me. And it made me start to think and want to share with you all this week. If it's changing the way that I'm thinking, maybe if I just shared some of the things from it, it would change the way you think about food. And that's what Sage Root I want to do. I want to help you change the way you look at food so that ultimately it changes your body and your life. Sage Root is not, I'm not here to be your weight loss guru. I'm not. Weight loss is a byproduct of Sage Root Nutrition. That's it. Because I'm exposing you to real food and learning to listen to your body. That's what Sage Root is. So, let me just share with you some things from this Fed Up documentary. And it's narrated by Katie Couric. And if you want to look for it, I found it on Amazon Prime. You can probably Google it. But it looks like two M&Ms and it says FU for Fed Up. Or, in my case, F the food industry. And that's not to say everybody, because, as a society, we have started to see some really good companies get started to try to combat the shit we've been eating. So let's start here. If you haven't listened or watched my Convenience Era vlog or podcast, go back and listen to it. because that's where this journey really starts, is that early 1980s, when the convenience era started. And that's where, to me, shit hit the fan, right? And maybe you don't know this, maybe you do, but during that time, there were for sure doctors and nutritionists and registered dietitians and all these, these people that predicted the obesity crisis we're in. They did. They were like, if we keep going this way, we're going to be in this huge obesity crisis. And we're there. We're in it. So, how did they know? Well, clearly, they're doctors and nutritionists and things like that. So, they're seeing these patients come in and they're seeing what's going on, and they're seeing the foods that people were eating. And they're watching how the food industry changed during that convenience era. And, they started to say stuff. And some politicians start to listen. And so this thing came out called the McGovern Report. And it was highlighting ways in which, as a society, we could start to combat this obesity crisis that was being predicted. And if you don't know the lovely lobbyists that are part of Washington, there were lobbyists. And guess who those lobbyists worked for? Some of the biggest named food and beverage companies in the United States. So guess what happened to that report? It got changed. So here we are. We have these people telling us this stuff is bad, this is what we need to do, this is how we need to do it, and then the money comes in. And if you haven't heard this enough in your life, you need to follow the money. Because wherever the money goes, that's where the policy goes. So things in the report got changed. And instead of addressing the shit food that was being produced, came out that we just need to move more. Americans just need to move more. And no doubt, no freaking doubt, we do need to move more. We are all in sedentary lifestyles. We all go to the office. We sit behind a desk. Shoot, I'm sitting right now. So yes, we need to move more. But we also need to eat the right food. And y'all, the shit we've been eating is not real food. Here's a prime example. So to help, what came out in the 80s is that we need to eat less fat. So fat was taken out of food. Well, when you take fat out of the food, you take flavor out of a food. I mean, think about bacon. Bacon is just basically fat. Bacon is good because of the fat, right? So when you take that out, you lose the flavor. I mean, I'm also thinking of a really big steak. And cat dropped my glasses, great. When you have a big steak and you get that like fatty part, that it's on the grill, and it's just, for me, my taste buds a little bit burnt. It's a really good, flavorful piece of meat, right? So anyway, when you take the fat out, you take the flavor out. When you take the flavor out, people aren't going to eat it. When people aren't eating it, profits go down. So what do these food companies do? They replace the fat with sugar. And now, the amount of sugar that we were eating on a daily basis dramatically, I'm talking dramatically, increased. And we were none the wiser because we were told to eat less fat. So we were eating fat-free Oreos. We're eating fat-free Triscuits. We're eating all this stuff that's fat-free or reduced fat not realizing all the crap that they put in it so that we would actually eat it and buy it and spend money with their company. I mean, I just watching this, I'm like, good night. Like, follow the freaking money. There it goes, right? So these companies preyed on our ignorance, and we didn't know any better, right? One of the facts that came out in this documentary that was very shocking to me was that during the 80s, we saw the biggest boom of gym memberships. People were listening. They were getting out there and they were moving more. So they're going to the gym. They're, running, they're biking, they're doing all this stuff. And so they're listening. We're being told to move more, they're moving more. But also during that time, we saw the biggest increase in obesity rates. And that shocked me. Like, I paused the documentary because I was like, really? Well, we're moving more, right? That's what they're telling us.